right. We are live. As far as I know, let me see if it pop up here. It says we're live.
Says we're
Hey,
live.
yeah.
Let's
Of
do it. Do it.
course, I am agoraphobe. I'm wearing a little bit of my substance color tonight. It's not quite that color, but I don't have the actual color that it is. It's a little more fluorescent, but I don't have fluorescent bandanas. So, anyway, I'm here with Eric once again. Very cool. It's a movie we talked about a while back. Check it out. And I found out, which I figured I figured you liked it too. Let me turn this down so it'll show up and I don't want me. That's my notification. I want to have it every few seconds going. Oh my god! So yeah, but Coralie Fargeats' masterpiece. Absolutely, I think this will go down. It's probably her greatest movie. She's only made a couple, but I mean,
Yeah, this is
just
only her
like
second film.
yeah. So that's why I put it on there. I put on the little thing there. I said, join us. You know what I mean? As we discuss her take on the um, body horror genre, which surpasses and even leaves the Cronenbergs in awe, in my opinion. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? She, you know, especially especially Brandon. I'm not so big on Brandon Cronenberg stuff. Um,
Uh, Brandon. Let's see here. I really liked Possessor, but Possessor took me a couple viewings to truly appreciate it. I wasn't really huge on Antiviral. I
right,
thought it was all right. And I haven't seen the following one, but I'm not big on Mia Goth, so I'm really taking my time to get to that one. But Brandon is good. He has a good pedigree. His dad's work speaks for itself. You know what I mean? That guy,
right,
he doesn't have to go back to body horror because his name is he's David Cronenberg. You know what I mean? But
right.
like we'll get into it, especially when we get to the finale of the Substance. Coralie, she's got a lot of my respect because we talked about this offline last time we were together. Um, she First off, it's cool seeing a female horror director do body horror like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But the fact that she, no pun intended, the fact that she as a female had the balls to tell her distributing company, "I'm not cutting the finale." You know what I mean? And
right.
she went from place to place to place to find one that would is really cool. So she's definitely up there respect wise, like, putting her foot down, saying, "No, this is what I want. This is
Yep.
how it's going to be. Take it or leave it."
Yeah, that's what she told Universal. She said, "No, I'm not doing it." And so she ended up with Movie, which
Hmm.
is I don't know about them. I mean, I know of them, but I don't know a lot about them. I thought that was really cool of them to take it the way it means they believed in her vision. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
so that's what you want. You want to go through everybody that you work with. You want somebody that's going to go with your vision, and not second guess everything you're doing as an
Yeah,
artist.
you need the support, man. And
Right.
movie, I've only heard of movie because of the Substance. I don't know anything else that they have produced and released, but the fact that they're willing to take a chance on someone who this is her second film. I think it's her first American film, and they're just like, it has because it definitely has its roots in Hollywood today, women today, with aging, being replaced with the newer, younger version type of thing. So it is
Right.
very relevant. But man,
Yeah.
when we get to the
It's
body horror and the gross out stuff, they could have just said, no, this is too much. We can't release it. And the fact that this was released theatrically and Oscar nominations and stuff like that, we're finally getting our foot in the door, when it comes to horror fans of getting recognized and appreciated
right.
when it comes to the fancy schmancy, bullshit award shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so cool because I think for the first time, I think Brandon Cronenberg tried it a few times. He tried to get the artsy and the, you know what I mean, the more today's horror going along with the body horror, and I
Hmm.
don't think he did it nearly as much impact as Farji did. There's parts in this film that literally, and I'll get into that. That was literally painful, hard to listen to, and hard to watch, and
Hmm.
not on a body horror point of view, from an emotional point of view.
Oh yeah.
Just being able to let you know how that character feels, and oh my god, you know what I mean? Oh
Hmm.
no,
No, it
um,
was great. It was great at making you feel sympathetic toward Demi Moore's character. You know,
yeah,
you and
it
me,
should
Keith.
be
You and me, Keith. We were related too. We're not getting any younger. You know what I mean? We
Right.
know what it's like to age. We're on camera. We're our own worst critics. We will look at ourselves and we're like, shit, but we'll deal with it. And I grew up with Demi Moore from Ghost and St. Elmo's Fire and
About
all the
last
Brat
night.
Pack stuff. And seeing her, because she was the it girl for a long time, disappeared, came back with G.I. Jane, disappeared, came back with Charlie's Angels, disappeared, and then now she's back with this. You know what I mean? So it is kind of seeing her just, I don't want to say be replaced, but being the it girl and then going away type of thing.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. I'm thinking almost as if, in a couple of different ways, if this film isn't a way of her to deal with and adjust to her age, considering what she's going through with Bruce Willis and his dementia type shit, along with her getting older, it's like it almost feels like it's probably a personal type of a role or something for her for those two reasons,
Yeah, and God bless her. She's 60 years old. She's fully nude, and speaking about women are more self-conscious than men are. If a man gets fat, it's okay. It's cute. You know what I mean? He's cuddly. If a woman gets fat, she's disgusting. That's how a lot of people look at it. That's how women, a lot of women look at it, and especially also when it comes to age. She's got a great body, but still the age thing is a factor with why a lot of women, they're like, I'm too old to show my body, the wrinkles, this and that. And again, I think that's a great way for her to, because this isn't a film of her showing off her body. She just does it. You know what I mean? They made a big deal when she came out with that second Charlie's Angels movies. Oh, it's Demi Moore. She's fucking 40 years old in a swimsuit. You know what I mean? And that's how they were promoting the movie. It's like when Halle Berry had Swordfish, they made a big deal because she was topless. That's how they promoted the movie. They're trying to get the people in. These nude scenes with Demi and with Margaret Quarry, they're actually necessary to the story. You know what I mean? Yes. Especially with Demi, because right before she switches, I guess you would say, she's looking at herself. You know what I mean? And you can tell she's still the gears are turning. She's looking at the imperfections because of the shit that Dennis Quaid has said and stuff like that. She's already too old and things like that. So that right before it happened, like she's looking at herself nude in the mirror and she's second guessing it, but you can tell she's still got that in the back of her mind. She's like, that wrinkle there. Ooh, 50 is too old. You know what I mean? Nowadays, that's unheard of. But if someone who's been in the business that long, because her character has been in the business, since forever, she's got a star in the Walk of Fame, that's stuff that people think about. You can't all be like all these other actresses that have been doing it for so long, and they just get these roles thrown at them. You know what I mean? Like, you still see like Madeline Stowe show up or just anybody, Jamie Lee Curtis is still doing stuff at her age. And Meryl Streep.
Margaret's mother. Margaret's mother.
Yeah. Andy McDowell, they're still getting these roles.
I loved her. I loved her back in the day.
Oh yeah. And it's very relevant, and that's what I liked it, that it's not gory for the sake of being gory. You know what I mean? That's what I love about this. It's not just emotional. There to be disgusting. It's not just there to be sexual. It's just all the pieces fit in the puzzle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not just a body horror film. This has got a lot of things going on, man. Like at the very beginning, the first thing you see, I'll go ahead and start there, but the first thing you see is her star. When it's put there and it's nice and it's shiny and it's brand new and people are cheering, but over the time it shows it start to get weathered and cracked and dirty and birds are shitting on it and people are walking on it,
dropping their fucking burritos on it and stuff like that. Yeah.
And as time goes, the cheer, you can hear the cheer slowly going down. You can hear it slowly getting quieter and quieter to the point to where the very last part of it, the dude drops a hot dog and shit across with ketchup. And then he takes it and he just kind of wipes it across it. And it's just kind of smeared across it. It's like, of course, I hadn't even seen the movie yet. Just seeing that part, I said, oh, hell. It's already saying a hell of a lot to us. And
Yeah, her
well, I'm
star is
just done
fading.
watching this.
Her star is
Yeah,
faded. That's what it
dirty,
is.
cracked, just like her, dirty, cracked, weathered.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just, you know what I mean. It's quite the right then because I still haven't seen Revenge, and you probably haven't either, considering what kind of
I
movie it
haven't,
is.
and I don't want to because I've heard it's a rape revenge movie, and I don't do those.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
it,
watched Last House on the Left to say I've watched it as a horror fan. I won't go back to it. I'm not going to
you
do the
picked
I
him up
spit
with
on.
him.
I won't do the spit on your grave shit. But that's I
Ooh,
don't like extreme horror like that.
right,
And if
right,
that's what revenge is, I'm like I'll read the Wikipedia and I'll be good.
right. But did you know that Ray Liotta was supposed to play the role that Dennis Quaid did?
Yes, yes.
That would have been interesting. But would he have done better than Dennis? I don't think anybody could come off as slimy as Dennis Quaid did. It was perfect.
I like Ray. Ray's too intense. Ray Liotta
Yeah,
is too intense. He's too much of an asshole. Dennis
yeah,
is an asshole, but he's charming. That's what you need for a slimy executive. You need somebody to be charming. He'll treat his employees like shit, but when the bigwigs come in, hey everybody, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Let me take you out. He's got to have that charm. And Dennis Quaid's been charming since fucking the 80s. You know what I mean? He's got the grin. That fucking Cheshire cat grin. That's got all the bullshit that he's hiding behind it. Ray would have been good, but I don't think he would have had the right attitude. He would have been browbeating her and talking about how she's not needed.
it would have been
The way
with
Dennis
him.
was, the way Dennis was when they were eating like the shrimp and stuff, he was
Right,
he was discussing, but he was still talking down to her, but he was doing
right.
it in a way where he was just being like a used car salesman. You know what I mean? He was feeding lines
Right,
and shit like that. And Ray could have done it, but I don't think he would have done it as great as Dennis, and especially as like the movie went along when he's
right.
kissing Margaret Quarry's ass. You know what I mean? As this new young thing, because he knows in 20 years you're out the door too.
Right. Now, if that character would have been a character that was a sexual deviant trying to hit on them and
Oh
using
yeah.
sex to get the jobs, that would have been more like
Oh,
for
that would
Ray
have been
Liotta.
great. I
Yeah.
I hate to say that Ray
I thought
Liotta
that's what it was going to
could
do for
play
me.
a better
You know?
sexual deviant than Dennis Quaid, but that's just how he is. Like I said, he's more
Yeah.
intense. Like you've seen Unlawful Entry with Kurt Russell. He's a fucking psychopath in that. You know what
He's
I
great in
mean?
that. Yeah, he is
He's
damn
really
good.
good. So yeah, definitely
Hannibal?
he
Hannibal?
Hannibal. Oh God! But even in just little things, like he's an asshole and he's a bad guy in like Goodfellas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People don't realize
man.
people in Goodfellas aren't good
He
guys.
doesn't play a good guy. He had no. They definitely glamorized it. They were not good people, not
It's
a one
it's
of
like
them.
it's like I never watched it, but it's like The Sopranos. People loved it, but those are not good people. His
No.
character in Goodfellas was not a good person. He was not a good guy. But that was
He was
Ray's
a
shtick.
yeah.
He could do it.
Yep. It's too bad that we lost him.
Yeah.
Um, it worked out good for Quade because he hadn't done anything in a while. I love that. Demi hadn't done anything in a while. Quade hadn't done anything in a while. And Margaret Qualley, she's still kind of new. And when I first seen it, I knew she reminded me of somebody. Her looks reminded me of somebody. I didn't find out until after that was Andy McDowell's daughter. And I said, "Oh, that's
She looks just like her mom, dude. She
a
looks just
lot."
like her mom.
Her mom had this elegant look about her, though. A little
Yeah,
different.
she's
She's a little
class.
cuter.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know what? You know what? Andy reminds me of. She's like Michelle Pfeiffer. She's got that class to her. Like she's in a
Yeah.
different era, like the 30s and 40s. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like that's why
Yes.
Michelle was perfect for Scarface. You know what I mean? She could
Mm-hmm.
fit into those gowns, and she looked like she was pulled like right out of the 1940s, dude. They're both classic Hollywood.
The hair and the gown and shit flowing in the way. Yeah, it just yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. One thing that I noticed about this is, yeah, she was successful in this. Sparkle was Elizabeth Sparkle, but she was only successful at one show, and that's all she had. And she put everything toward that, and there was nothing really else to fall back on. There was when she lost this, she pretty much lost her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you can't help but to feel for that. But at the same time, when she brought the younger self, when she takes the substance, and she basically brings back the younger her. And I think that made her realize what an asshole she really. I don't think she knew. I don't think she understood that she was a snotty little bitch, and so she was dealing with herself. You know what I mean? She was dealing with the young version of her that other people had to see, but she never seen. You know,
Right, and what I
it's
think is,
something.
because she obviously was very, very successful. She got the star on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah,
But what I think is, I think this was, again, you got this movie, you can interpret it different ways the more you rewatch it. She was big in, let's just say, the 80s and 90s, and I think this it's an exercise show. No one gives a shit about the exercise. They're watching the hot
right,
chicks, shake their ass. That's what it is. But
right.
I think this was her last way to stay relevant. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
it was.
Stay in the zeitgeist. And when she lost that, that's why she's like, I still gotta have the attention, because
Yeah,
she's probably already had those slumps that we haven't seen. You know what I mean? Before the movie started. And if
but
she's fired now, no one's gonna hire a 60-year-old.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
she thinks. It doesn't matter how fit she is, how
It's
great
over.
she is. It's done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's done.
and
And those roles only come once in a lifetime at
yeah,
that age, especially for a woman, hate to say. So I think that's what convinced her, all right,
yeah,
I gotta do it.
yeah. But one thing she didn't consider is when she did this and brought another version of herself in there, is she was not going to be able to relive that. She was going to have to share it and take a back
Hmm.
seat to it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think she was necessarily prepared for that, or prepared for the kind of person she was when she was younger, and how driven
Well,
and how everything she was.
but what it
She
was
like
is
she just couldn't feel it and relive it, but she didn't get to
I
do that.
also think that it's also the desire that she needs to stay relevant that was thrown into Sue. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that's
yeah,
why Sue was so overbearing. You know what I mean? Because she had
mm-hmm.
Elizabeth's desire to stay relevant, to stay the star, get back on the billboards. Because if you remember, it's I love the visuals of this movie. We already
Oh,
talked about the use of the Hollywood star, just that billboard in the very beginning when she's driving, she sees
yeah,
her billboard
yeah,
coming down. You know what I mean? And that's what causes the car
yeah,
accident. Again, the use of these type of things. And what happens? Margaret Qualley is on the billboard now. That's what I'm saying.
mm-hmm.
So now she's
Immediately.
relevant. So I think that desire and that need to be in everybody's face that Elizabeth once was transferred to Margaret, to
Yep.
Sue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she thought it was going to be transferred back to her, but it was,
No.
but not to her. Her to that her, And
Hmm.
she's like, God, I got to share it, and she's a lot better than me now because that's just
Hmm.
the way she looked at it. I'm
Yeah.
not. Um, it's let me see. I had a point that I was going to make. I
Sorry.
don't remember. Anyway, you're all right, man. But yeah, she's going through there and there's just pictures of her, and it's just they're all doing that same thing, and that's why it's so significant when she destroys that one. But you know what I mean? She destroys that
Mhm,
one because um, I love how care she took of the younger version. She probably well no, the older when she was younger, she props the towel underneath Demi's head and
mhm,
all that. And she makes sure she's good and comfortable. So she's being considerate. You watch it go downhill.
yeah,
At first she's real nice. She wants to take care of her older body, but then she begins to live a different life than that, and she becomes
mhm,
her own individual and doesn't
mhm,
longer care about that one. In a way, I like I said, I was going to do a review on this, and like I said, I'd probably still be doing it right now
mhm,
if I'd have started because I found so many things as I went along, and one of the biggest things that I come along with is she almost became Debbie almost became mommy, and she became daughter because
mhm,
during that time she's making out with that dude, and her time has ran out. So instead, she goes and takes a little more life from mommy. Takes a little more life from mommy because I got to keep mommy asleep so I can have fun. You know,
yep,
that's like having your mom move in with you or something when she's older, and you can't do the things you did before because you got to take care of her and you got to give her time to her. But she's too selfish. She wasn't willing to do that, so she took more life from mommy so she could have more. I mean, if that makes sense.
or that does, or you could think of it this way, because like I said, there's many ways to interpret this movie.
Oh,
You
I
could think of
know.
it, let's just say, God forbid, you put one of your family members in a home.
Right.
It's my time now.
Yeah.
That's how you look at it. I took care of you as long as I could. I can't do it
Hmm.
now. Now it's my time to live my life. And I hate to say that, it happens. It really happens when I've told you my situation. We cared for my mom for the longest time, and we just couldn't do it.
It's
And
hard.
she had to go into assisted living, and she's living her best life now. She's great. My mom is, but I understood the feeling of, okay, because I stayed at home until I got married, and then once I got married, I went fucking crazy. Not like losing my mind, but I went the bars, this and that. So I understood what Sue, if you look at it that way, was doing. I understood because when I was before I got married, I was the sole provider, because everyone was trying, but I was bringing in that. I was doing this, doing that, helping my dad because he was the caregiver, but financially. But then when I got out, I'm like, okay, let's crack open the beers. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. And it was like, this is my time. I can finally getting married helped me live the single life. You know what I mean? In a lesser extent, without to go party. So I understood, like, if you look at it that way, Sue is just like, okay, mom's gone now. It's time to party.
Yeah. And it's just, it's funny how it strikes all the emotions. You know what I mean? Even if you're not a woman and you haven't worried about, because, you talk about Hollywood. Hollywood's always been like that. You can go all the way back 20s and 30s, and it was still that way. And you got to, as a matter of fact, it was even worse then because when Joan Crawford did Mildred Pierce in 1940, she was over the hill considered. She was like 40 years old, and she was considered over the hill. So for her to get, that's why she went there. She had to leave MCA to go over here and get that role so that she could become relevant again at 40. So it's like, so that was even worse.
Judy Garland. Look at the shit they did to keep Judy Garland looking young. Feeding her amphetamines, forcing cigarettes and coffee down her throat, taping her chest down. So when she was like 16 or 17 in Wizard of Oz, she was playing like a 12-year-old. They had to tape her down uncomfortably, and that just continued. And look where it led. It led to the addiction and the heartbreak and the tragedy.
Hooked on speed, so she number one, stays thin. Number two, have the energy to keep going. Yep.
Yeah.
And destroyed her. That's why she lived basically a short life. She looked much older than what she was when she died.
Oh God, yeah.
She looked bad. Yeah. That's one of the sadder. Yeah.
And it just sucks, but I hate to say it, that's just the way Hollywood and the world is when you're living the life, being on the screen. I hate to say it, looks and age matter. I mean, look at all these. Again, this is my opinion, not necessarily Gore's opinion. This is my opinion. This is why a lot of women get the plastic surgery that's unnecessary. They think this is the look. And again, my opinion, they butcher themselves. But I understand it. If they're trying to become models, if they're trying to become TV stars, they have to look young. They have to stay relevant. Oh shit, my tits are starting to sag. Time to fix them, and that can really screw your life up. You know what I mean? The pain. You could have a botched surgery. Oh shit, I need a tummy tuck. Time to get lipo.
Yeah, because all you got to do is start with one or two, just like with anything else. And once you do that, and it makes it, and it does a little bit of improvement, then you keep going, and next thing you know, you end up looking like the Joker or Joan Rivers, or like what's happened to Madonna. Madonna had aged well, and now she
man, when Madonna had that cover of American Pie, you know what I mean? 20, 30 years ago, she was still gorgeous. And now I hate to say it, she's unrecognizable.
Right.
It's not my place. It's not my place to say it's your life. It's your money. Do what you want. But it's just, for me, sad to see when people have to go that route.
Yeah. Rocky Balboa said it best, I think, in Rocky 5. Time is undefeated. It's undefeated. Period. It's the only thing that is undefeated. It's inevitable.
Undertaker said it all the time. Father, time is the only opponent you can never beat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. And there's another rule here to this whole thing: is you cannot relive the past. You can't do it. It's already happened. You got to move forward. You don't have a choice. Just trying to go backward. That's the problem that I've had often is trying to relive some of the glories of the past and stuff. And that's a rough one to lay on yourself because that's hard to deal with because you just cannot do it. You can't.
No.
Just like trying to recapture.
No matter how much they're memories for a reason. You just keep them happy memories, but don't let them control your life. And that's what it's doing with Elizabeth. She misses the glory days. She wants the glory days. She wants to be relevant. And as soon as she's turned 50, and look at the way it happened. She couldn't use the bathroom, so she had to go in the men's room, and just her dickhead manager, is just saying basically, you old bitch, you old crone, I don't need you anymore. We got to find someone with better looks, better tits, better ass, and get her out there.
Yep. It's well, and it wouldn't have been so bad. See, a lot of people are able to switch to that, but she didn't have a husband. She had no boyfriend. She had no kids. She had no friends. All she had was that.
That's job. It. All she had was her reputation and everything, and it's gone. Once you hit 50, you're out the door.
Yeah, and that's why I love the nice little play on the star and her. As it got older and dingier and cracked, and so did she. And it told us that before it even started. And then he lets her go, and him and the whole entourage comes in and goes to that. I love that cinematography, that big long ass hallway. And they come there and he gives her a cookbook. Now that you don't have a job no more, now you can do what all the rest of the women do. Now you can just cook, motherfucker.
Coralie, she was so good at these camera angles to make you feel isolated, but to also make these characters disgusting. We have when he's at the urinal taking a piss. We have that close up of him on the phone. You know what I mean? Just so disgusting. Him just peeling, slurping that shrimp, and the motherfucker leaves her with the bill. You know what I mean? He just fired her.
Right in on his mouth. So I went right in on his mouth as he was chewing on him.
He's scooping up the butter and all that shit, or whatever it is. And then, like I said, he has the gall to fire her on her 50th birthday. Talk shit. He doesn't know she's in the stall. Eat like a fucking pig. Sees his buddies, and then he leaves her with the fucking bill.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? And she's just like, she couldn't believe it. Because I think wasn't he the one that hired her to begin with too? Wasn't he around then?
I think so. Probably, most likely. Yeah.
Younger version.
So that means, like I said earlier, he's done this before. And then when Sue got to a certain age, you're gone. He would do it again. Because all he cares about is the fucking money and the ratings.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the job. That's Hollywood. You get people that care a lot more than that, they're probably not going to be successful there. It's just the way it is,
Right.
So I'm sure she understood that, but she had nothing else to fall back on. All she had was her being that Elizabeth Sparkle character. So she had to bring another one in there to be that Elizabeth Sparkle character, not thinking about the fact that she wasn't going to be that character. Instead, she had to, when it was time for her week, she basically sat around bored that whole week with nothing to do, nobody to talk to, just eat, and then when it was time to release her back, she laid there, and then slowly but surely, Sue got to where she was more of a hindrance than anything. I don't let her back. I'm having a good time. Why do I want to lead her back? What good does she do us if she's here? When I'm here, we get all this, and we got this kick-ass job and this kick-ass life. When she's here, she eats.
What it made me? You know what it also made me think of? Like these people that are forced into retirement. They've worked a job 50 years and they're forced into retirement. I'm used to getting up at crack of dawn. Make my coffee, get my shower, and then go drive. Traffic to go do this.
I think that's why they don't live long.
Those people, or I hate to say it, let's go to Shawshank. Remember Brooks?
Yeah.
Brooks, look what happened to him because he lived in the fucking prison for goddamn 50, 60 years. He couldn't take it. Right. He couldn't adjust to that lifestyle. So Elizabeth couldn't adjust, or she refused to adjust to that lifestyle. But you also got to think about it. She lives in that fucking apartment. She got no job. She's got to pay for that. Or she's gonna lose her job, or she's gonna lose it. She's got to eat, so she's got to bring in the money for that, utility bills, gas, all that stuff. But living where she lived and on that fucking high-rise apartment, those fucking things are $5,000 a month, probably. You know what I mean?
At least, I think it was right off Beverly Hills and right off Hollywood Boulevard there, right around Beverly Hills. So probably a lot more than that. I think the
Yeah.
shittiest places around LA are $2 or $3 a month. Actually,
See, so that's
that's
another thing.
shitty.
She's also, there's so many things. Like I said, with all these viewings, repeated viewings, you can figure out so many different things. Like put yourself in that position at her age. Okay, now what? Not just to keep my attention going. How am I going to
Right.
live? Because now
Yeah.
how is she going to live downsizing? Because we don't know how long she's lived there. It's a huge fucking apartment. She's got downsized to a fucking studio, maybe. You know what I mean? Get rid
Yeah.
of all of her prized possessions. That takes a lot out of somebody too.
See, and it showed not only are the people in the show business so small-minded and shallow, but even her neighbor, thinking it was her, the older version of her, was going to come over and he was going to give her hell until
Yeah.
he's seen the younger version of her, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, well, that's okay,"
Yeah. Such a dick.
shallow.
Exactly.
Yeah, shallow. Because he was like, "Ooh, this is not the old. Ooh, this is the younger."
Mhm.
It's that's all right, and then she just shoves him off to the side.
Yeah.
Well, let me jump back a little bit.
Yeah,
Say
go ahead,
hello.
dude.
Hey, Drake, what's going on? Hey, Rusty, how you doing? Hey, hi, hello, Paul. Hey, Paul. Brian Sanchez, what's going on? Let's see here. How you guys doing? Yeah, Madonna. So your thoughts on Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane with Jodie Foster? I love Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane. You seen that, haven't
Never
you?
seen it. No, never seen it.
Run Jodie Foster and Martin Sheen. Okay, I definitely recommend it. She was like fucking 16 or something in that. I think it was made maybe right after Taxi Driver.
Yeah, because I think she's supposed to be 13 in Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Drake says, Judy Garland was so pretty. She was too, when she was younger.
Mhm.
That's true. Let me see here. Investigative. I love A Few Good Men was a compelling. Paula says, Few Good Men was a compelling story and great mystery. Yeah, you can't handle the truth. Brian says, for my opinion, I'm a fan of Demi Moore. Again, The Substance, Parasite, Wisdom with Emilio Estevez. Few Good Men, set aside Mr. Brooks. Have you
Mr.
seen
Brooks is such an underrated movie,
It
man.
is. It
And
is.
I think
Nobody
it's
ever talks about it.
because I hate to say it, I think it's because people just got used to Kevin Costner making, like stuff like The Postman and Waterworld, like these over the top
Yeah.
stuff. And Mr. Brooks is so good, especially William Hurt in that movie. Holy
I think
shit,
another one of
William.
Costner's underrated films too is A Perfect World, the one that Clint Eastwood directed. That's a damn good movie.
That's one of me and my wife's favorites. We
I
love
love
that
that
movie. We love that
It's
movie.
so many different avenues for that Kevin Costner character. Yeah, he's a
Mhm.
prisoner and he did dastardly things, but he loves that kid and he protects that kid, and he lets that kid be a kid, and
Oh, yeah.
I just love the character in that movie.
I love when he, because the kid's a Jehovah's Witness and he
Yeah.
forces people to give him trick or treat stuff. You know what I mean? Like he forces, like she's giving him like boxes of like baking soda and shit like that, just so he can have the experience of trick or
Yes.
treating. Yeah.
And he's just so misdirected because not to get off the substance, but just for a second,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to at the very end of it. When he's with that family and he sees that the dad is abusive, he's not exactly all sure, but it tells you what he's been through in his life because he immediately just goes off on this guy. He just he hurts this guy and he's going to kill the dude. He doesn't even know how bad it is. He just sees some things from his dad that is in this guy.
He was gonna kill that dad in front of the family.
Yes.
The trigger was flipped, dude. He was in the zone. He was back as he was the little boy. And then when he turned around, he saw the little boy that was held captive. That's when he just kind of he's like, okay. So yeah, such a great movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. See, I've never seen a little girl lives down the lane. Shame. Shame. Never seen a little girl lives down the lane. Yeah, it's something else, man. And the role that Martin Sheen plays is something else too. Whenever you do see it, you'll definitely agree. He's something in it, that's for sure. Red Rusty. If the two films of Cora are any indication, she doesn't She doesn't mind blood and gore. That's for sure. And they're two completely different films that you wouldn't expect a woman to direct, let alone write. And she writes and directs her films. She's so good, man. She just she gets it. You know what I mean? Let's see, Miss Saber. Yeah, it's almost as if she felt like she was doing the older version of herself a favor. Let me keep you down here, and together, we will, we escape this miserable, horrible, jobless, friendless, whatever, youthless version of you. Let me take this, and you would understand it because. Think about it. I mean, let's be honest. When we're young and shit, we are selfish motherfuckers. Our youth means everything to us, and fuck everybody else. The older people, it's like, you love them, but they're kind of you feel like they're a pain in the ass. It's like, damn, I can be doing this, And being older now, I think back to those times, and I feel kind of bad about it. You know what I mean? Because you don't know shit when you're young. You don't know a damn thing. And now that we know we probably shouldn't have felt that way, but we also know that all older people, our moms and shit, probably did the same thing. It's just the way it goes because we don't know enough to curb that. We don't know enough. We're too ignorant to avoid that because all we know is being young and having fun and thinking about ourselves.
Yep. And that's what Sue did. That's what Sue did.
Oh man. One of those painful parts of it is when she just keeps taking from her, and I knew it wasn't going to be good, but oh my god! And it did, and I love how it shows you from outside, and it shows that little room that she made here, and it's just cracked. And it's oh no, and you're like oh shit, because your mind plays, you know what I mean. Your mind fills in that gap.
Yep.
And it's like oh my god, and it's
that's
just like
that's why I respect Coralie for so much as a filmmaker. She can have her, what does this mean? What does that mean? She knows when to use the gore. She knows when not to use it. So
she does really well.
This movie here is kind of like a double-edged sword. It's great, fantastic movie, but now you got to follow it up. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
It's and then even when she decides to end it all, she decides to end this. She's going to go back out on it because the first time she tries, she thinks about it for a minute, and she thinks, yeah, but if I don't have
she sees
her,
her finger. It's either her finger and part of her leg is fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she looks there and she goes, "Oh, this is inevitable. This is inevitably me, all of me. If I don't do this, so for me." I'll go ahead and keep her around. But then finally she decides to pull a plug and then she does it. And then she thinks about it and sees that billboard out there. And she's like, oh man, I'm going to lose this now. So then she wants to bring her back knowing that she'll keep taking from her until she's nothing but a fucking pile of bones. Yeah.
But way before that, it's just a great scene. Her finger is already changed, and I think her leg, and she literally has to sit there and think about it when she's on the phone with that person. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't go back. What's changed is changed, but you can end it.
Yeah.
She doesn't. And then it gets worse. And it gets worse. And it starts building up. And then you have that great scene where Sue is doing her aerobics and she gets that fucking like cyst or bump on her ass. You know what I mean? And
the chicken bone.
Yeah. And then you have my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when Elizabeth is losing it, watching Sue on the fucking talk show, and she's just making the nastiest fucking food, blood sausage, this and that. She's destroying this. And to me, it's so fucking good in this. Like she's got the wrinkles and the leathery skin and the gray in the hair that's being unkept, and she's just mocking Sue. Everything she says, she's losing her mind. She's destroying the food. She doesn't care when she's using the blender. The shit's flying in her face. Doesn't care. And then she looks out and sees the billboard, and she takes the newspaper with all the shit on it and sticks it on the window so she can't see it.
Yeah,
it's one of the best scenes of the whole movie because you see the two sides. You see
vindictive.
You see the young vindictive stuff because she's trash talking herself. You know what I mean? And then you see Elizabeth, what having to deal with it, and I love that scene when when Demi just kind of heightens her voice. She's going, oh, just mocking Sue, stuff like that. It's so good, and I think underappreciated, because if people just look at it, it's just Demi losing her mind. You got to see why. You know what I mean? But again, Coralie, she knows how to make things disgusting without gore. Like I said, with Dennis eating the fucking shrimp, now we have the close-ups of the blood sausage and this and the sizzles and the burnt stuff and all that stuff. It's so good.
Also, she wants you to focus on. She goes right in on it real quick and shows it to you. And she don't show it to you for a couple seconds. She shows it to you for several seconds. She wants you to really understand it.
It's got to process. She wants you to process it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the only actual shot, like the one with Dennis Quaid, is that one. Mm-hmm. She does not repeat that one. That's the only time she does it like that, because she wanted you to know about him.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
This is him. Yeah, this is him. He's a fucking idiot. He has no manners. He just, he's there with her on her birthday in a restaurant, and they're having shrimp and this nice stuff, and he doesn't give a shit. He just, and the whole thing, no feeling about it at all. Like most people be like, look, I'm sorry, but he was just like, he was unapologetic. He was just like, hey, it's what it is, The reason it hadn't happened to him is because he wasn't there because of his looks. He was there because he was a shyster, and he was good at not giving a shit about anybody.
And the thing is, the way he did it flowed so perfectly that he does this like every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I took it. The way he came off, he's like, okay, well, it's Tuesday, gotta fire someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is really scary, considering if he was the one that was there when he may not have been in the same position, but I think he was at least there when she first started. So he's known her all this time, 40 years or something.
He could have been like a grip or like a gopher, a coffee guy. You know what I mean? Seeing her type of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, they knew each other somewhat. Yeah,
and then it makes you think, how many people has he stabbed in the back to get where he is?
Of course, you have to in that business. You kind of, that's just it comes with the territory. Yeah, it's but yeah, it's like she's trying to stop the younger version of herself from wreaking havoc. But with her older self being the recipient now, it's weird. It's like she tries to stop the younger version of herself because she didn't. I don't think she liked who she was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it is so, especially when she goes into that restaurant and sees that older guy and realizes that older guy, the younger version of him, was that nurse that told her about it to begin with.
It's the birthmark.
Yeah. Oh, that was was strong, man. That was really, really strong. Yeah. Definitely, but the to me the most vile, the most in your face thing to me is just trying to keep her far away so she can have fun. That just gets me for some reason.
Yeah.
Let's keep the old one over here, and we'll keep her asleep so we don't have to worry about her, so I can go fuck this guy. And Demi Moore comes out later on, and she comes out of there. Once she switches off, and she comes out there and she's like, get out! And the guy's terror. He's just buffered, dude, and he's just screaming. He's running the whole way. It's like, God damn, who is that? Because he didn't put two and two together. He's thinking, who in the hell's that?
Mm-hmm.
He was terrified of this fucking woman.
Well, you would be too if you just had great sex with a young 22-year-old, and a 50-year-old woman that you've never seen yells at you to get out of the fucking bed.
Yeah, and she was in bad shape at that point, so she was looking more like 100, 150. So it's like, she even had the Haggy voice going, which I thought was great. How Demi did that.
God, she's all that was all real prosthetics, because Demi Moore was sharing stuff on her Instagram when she was in full crone, saggy tits and stuff like that. She's out there on the lot, smiling with her little chihuahua, getting ready to, another day in the office type of thing. Because Demi's got a fun attitude. I love her to death. She's fun. But that was really her under all those prosthetics looking like that. So again, Demi's 60. She's playing a 50-year-old, but she was like 61. She was like 61, 62. And she, first off, going under all that prosthetics, because that takes hours and hours to do, and then you got to adjust seeing what you look like. You know what I mean? So, but
Robert England talked about that. He said that's another reason why he wouldn't play Freddy again. is because he does not want to do all that prosthetic shit ever again.
Right.
He just does.
Exactly.
He's too old to do that shit now. So he's just like, I do not want to deal with that. He's like, when I was young, it was hard to deal with. So fuck that. It's like, yeah, I think it really shows Demi Moore's humility into growing older now. And like I said, I think the shit she's dealt with Bruce, because they're still close. They always have been.
Oh, they always will be.
Going through with his thing with, him not knowing hardly anybody anymore and all this. She decided to stick right by him with his wife and their kid, and all the kids. And I think that kind of helped her. I think maybe it was a way for her to cope into that. Maybe this movie was.
Yeah. Because, I hate to say it, people are going to forget about Bruce. You know what I mean? Because he's gone. I hate to say it. He's still here, but Bruce is gone. You know what I mean? His career is over. He will never make another film because of his health. I hate to say it because of what our last stream was together, all the celebrities we lost. Yeah. But it could be a way to cope. And again, with her humility, I love how even though she didn't win the Oscar, I was fucking pissed. But I didn't see the movie that won. So she was so humble. She's there in her hotel room. She takes a picture of herself. This is, I lost, but I'm still going to celebrate. And she's literally she's got plates of French fries and stuff like that. She's there, she's humble. She's humility. Yeah. I love her to death. And my respect for her has grown since doing this film. Yeah.
She's so proud. She's always stayed pretty much of like ground level. She's never been one of these, but I think
when she won the Golden Globe, Keith, when she won the Golden Globe, she said that's the first award she ever won. You know what I mean? And I found that fucking hard to believe. So I think that's her moment where she's so humble, but she finally made it. You know what I mean?
Because that's the one that's chosen by people. That's chosen by the people. That's not an academy.
Yeah. Because she's now finally, I hate to say it, she looked at more than just a pretty face. Because again, you got to remember, she was the pretty one in the Brat Pack. She always had to play. She always had to play the whore. St. Elmo's Fire, or
I love Fire,
or striptease. You know what I mean? She's a single mom being a stripper. Which Striptease is an underrated comedy. That movie is so fucking funny, especially for Robert Patrick as the redneck ex-husband. But again, then she went through the phase where she did G.I. Jane because she didn't want to be the sex symbol. And the movie failed, or it wasn't as successful as they wanted. And then her next comeback was Charlie's Angels, and all they talked about was the fact that she was in a swimsuit at 40. I think that's disappointing. You don't promote a woman's return because she's showing skin.
Yeah, I think
probably what now, and then now that's why she's now appreciative of the fact that she's gotten these nominations, gotten these awards, and I just think it's awesome, not just for horror, but for someone like that to get the recognition. I just think it sucks that she lost.
And she's gonna be showing her much older body right next to someone that's much younger with a great young body. So that right there just shows you she was in this to make a good film, to do a good performance. She really she had a goal with this. And she accomplished it, whether she won the Oscar or not. I don't know. I'm not sure who won it, but I would say she probably should have. A lot of times the one it does shouldn't have. So
but that's what that's what I meant was the nudity wasn't just for the sake of having nudity. It served a purpose. You know what I mean? Because she's looking at all of her flaws before she takes it, and then switches over. And Jesus Christ, that scene where Margaret just comes out of her is fantastic. But and then they're nude together, so you see it, like you said, the comparisons of the older body and the younger body and stuff like that.
Couldn't have been easy.
Look at this film. Even if you can't handle the gore, rewatch the film, cut it off at the finale. If you can't handle the finale, that's fine. It's not for everybody, but you can still look at this film so many different ways in the ways the amount of times you view it.
I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it because the more I thought after it was over, I was talking about it with Drake, and we were because I watched it and then I showed it to him, and then we watched it, and he was excited about it too, and we were just sitting there just talking about it. And the more I talked about it, the more things I was coming up with. I said, "Geez, does this film ever end on its different comparisons and its different avenues?" It's just so multifaceted. It's just you really could pick a different part each 5 or 10 minutes. and spend 20, 30 minutes talking about that part. You literally could.
Exactly.
And that is rare.
Like the scene where Elizabeth, she's gonna kill Sue, basically. Now, did she revive Sue because she didn't want to murder somebody, or did she revive Sue because she still wanted that little bit of fame? You know, you can look at it different ways.
And it was the only way of getting it. It was the only way of getting it was to bring her ass back.
And Jesus Christ, that fucking fight! Holy shit! My God, the first time I saw that, I was yelling at my laptop. I'm like, oh my God. And then she's just bashing her fucking face into the mirror. And it's again, we get these close-ups as Coralie likes to do. And it's not overly gory, but it's visceral. It's enough. And like when she like bashes her face, she pulls her head away, you see the little bit of spit that's connected from the lips to the mirror. Just little details like that.
And it's so hard because you're like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. You're gonna beat on this very old ass person at this point. It kind of pisses you off in a way. It's like, God damn, get off me. She's done.
She just fucking saved your life, and this is how you repair. You know what I mean?
She wanted to kill her. She wanted to kill off. She wasn't thinking about because she was young and ignorant. She wasn't thinking about the fact that if I kill her off, I'm done.
Yeah.
She wasn't thinking about that because younger people, they don't think, and the older version thinking kept her from killing her. The younger version not thinking made her kill her. So it's like, it's just like, yeah, man, so good. It was definitely my favorite horror, definitely of just about any film, but especially of a horror film in the last few years, man. I think it's one of the best in the last 25 years. One of the best of this one.
It really is. Like this was in my top 3. You know me when it comes to horror movies, I look more for the fun factor. So that's why Abigail was above this one, just because it was a fun vampire flick. But the substance was so good, and that's why I keep telling people, get out of the bubble. Get out of the bubble of slasher movies. They're great. Slasher movies are great. They serve a purpose, but if that's all your focus is, you're here. You're missing what's over here. You know what I mean? We
cannot live on slashers alone.
Slashers are great. They have their place in history. They help the horror genre grow. But there's more to it than that. Go out and watch together. You know what I mean? Or go and watch Weapons or something like that.
I like Weapons too. I've not seen Together, but I did like Weapons. It's not as good as like The Substance, but it's good.
Oh, it's good. I liked Weapons up until the very end, and I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. I'll tell you offline, but there's just parts of me like during that finale of Weapons, I'm just like, oh God, really? I think there was a tonal shift. I'll leave it at that with what was going on, and I'm just like, guys, you it's like you have the football and you're at the 50-yard line, you're running all the way to the goalpost, and then right when you get to the 5-yard line, you fumble. That's how it felt like to me.
That's what the Minnesota Vikings did many moons ago. I can't remember what his name was, but he dropped it. They could have won that game.
Yeah.
He dropped the ball.
But I mean, that doesn't take away, to me, it doesn't take away the impact of how good it was. It's just like, you were so close. But the substance, I think, is damn near perfect, in my opinion.
It is.
From beginning to end. If it's a movie like this, where two guys like you and me can just pull from here and pull from here, and there's been stuff that in this discussion that we've been looking at different ways. You know what I mean? This is what this represents to Keith, but Eric looks at it like this. That's how good not just a horror movie, but how good a movie is by the conversation afterwards.
Because it's got just as much emotional and shit going on as it does more than it does body horror. Body horror only happens at the beginning of the third act and on, maybe the middle of the second. Somebody shit is on.
Because the fight wouldn't count as body horror. Body horror at the beginning when she crawls out, but that's a one and done scene. Once she gets on the elevator and the fucking fingernail and teeth, that's the shit I can't do. You know, ever since like The Fly, I can't do that shit. The 2000s
were crazy with that, with breaking the nails back and shit. They got stupid with that for a little while.
I still cringe. I love you know me. I also, again, because we're going back to Cronenberg, I guarantee you, Coralie, that was a nod to Cronenberg's The Fly, the fingernail and the tooth. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the stuff that I can't handle. But once she gets in the elevator and then she takes the substance again and becomes Monstro Elisu or whatever the fuck, she
Yeah.
still wants to be young because she looks like this fucking
Put some
chewed
makeup
up.
and shit.
She looks like this fucking chewed up testicle with hair. You know what I mean? And she still puts on the gown. You got Demi Moore's fucking face in the back screaming.
Yeah.
And she still
She
puts
still
on the
had to have that
lipstick.
moment.
She still
She
puts
still
on the
had to do that.
lipstick. She still puts on the gown. She still puts on the fucking earrings that are, off. That are, and then what does she do? She staples that picture to her face because she
Yeah, that was
still can't
probably,
accept it. That's fucked
yes.
up, dude.
Because she wanted that moment so bad. That
Yep.
one moment, that one last moment. Well, I think just one last thing that I want to get into is the guy, the guy that she went to school with, that she never would have remembered in a million years, never would have thought twice about it. She'd just walked by him when she still had the show and she was still, that Elizabeth. But on this one, okay. And she doesn't think about it. She takes his number and actually gets a hold of him later, something she never would have done if she was still a
Right.
star. And he gets a hold of him, but yet feels so no good anymore that she can't even go out with Fred now. She don't want to disappoint him. You know what I mean? It's just like she didn't feel good enough to go out with this guy from school that she never even looked twice at when she was still a star. You know?
Once you watched my episode of Carrie with my friend Melissa, and you
Mm-hmm.
saw how real she got, in that episode. Watch our episode with the substance because Melissa gets personal because she had that moment looking in the mirror.
Right.
It's not good enough. Getting ready to cancel, going back. So that's that was our first episode. We started with the fucking substance. So, she said she's been there. She knows what it's like to look in the mirror and it's not good enough to go out with dinner with a band. You know what I mean? And
Even
it's a
really wants to
struggle.
know you and knows what you look like and knows all that. Already they just seen you when they asked you out, right? You're making yourself
She
up to
wasn't
look a little
glamorous.
better.
She wasn't glamorous when he asked her out. But she can't accept the fact
True.
that she has to look beautiful. He didn't give two shits. He
Yeah.
was happy to see someone who he obviously crushed on back in
Yeah.
school.
He's
And
still
then he's like,
impressed.
oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. He was still impressed either way, and he was the only one that was.
Mm-hmm.
And
And what was great is he was, unlike the guy that was with Sue, he wasn't looking to get laid. He was looking to go out with dinner, catch up with a friend, see where it could go. But that wasn't his intention initially. You know what I mean? Again, and it just goes to show that good guys finish last. Another way to look at it. He treated her well, and he got kicked to the curb. And we understand why she did it. But then you had this other dude who was just, there at the club to bang Sue. Again, these two different lifestyles. These two different characters, versions of the same person.
Yeah, because I think she was going to get to share in on this. I think she thought she was going to get to relive this, and she was just asleep for a week and then woke back up. She didn't get to be a part of any of it. So this other chick, she was still jealous of the younger her. Yeah.
When Sue woke up, after Elizabeth just destroys the kitchen and all this shit on the windows, that was great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And that's why she was freaking out. Like, all she does is fucking eat. She's a pig. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Because who's gonna clean that up? Sue has to, because if she's gonna have executives over or random guy number 2 or whatever, she can't have fucking chicken bones and fucking mashed potatoes and all that all over the floor. So
No, but you better exercise a lot more now because now you got fucking chicken legs and shit coming out the side of your thigh. It's like,
oh god, that dream when she pulled the fucking chicken leg out of her belly button.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. But again, who does that? Coralie, I want to sit down and just because there's not that many interviews with her. I have the Blu-ray. The interview with her is it's disappointing. It's like 3 minutes. You know what I mean? I want to get into the mind of this chick and just see where she comes up with these ideas.
Literally, you were, they say you are what you eat. And she was literally it shows she was saying everything you put into your body, it's still in there. It becomes a part of it,
Yeah.
And she wanted to lay it on that younger version of herself. If I'm not going to get to share in this, and you're going to be such a little bitch and leave me fucking to not enjoy any of it, to get back up to enjoying it, you keep having so much fun, take it from me, then I'm going to give this to you.
Well, what's the quote? I might get it wrong, but it's like, you are one, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. You are one. Yes. You cannot escape from yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
So I've seen a lot of different reviews where they talk about, how that was kind of the point. Their point was to was sinister, was to try to hurt them. No, the guy told her straight out, do this. You remember, you are you, and you can't escape from that. So think about that. You must rotate every week. You must do it on time, or you will, because in order to come to life at all, she had to take from some of the juice from her.
Yep.
So she knew all that. That's why she was complaining. Is there anything we can do? No, there's nothing we can do.
And I just thought of another thing you can look at this film, because again, that's what's great about this film. You could just something can pop in your head. We talked about Elizabeth being like the mother. Lots of times parents have to deal with the decisions of their children. You know what I mean? I have a situation. I have some friends like that, and it just you got to put up with what your offspring decide what to do. And Sue was dealing with Sue was causing the trouble. Elizabeth had to deal with that, but also vice versa. Sometimes the parent could be making the wrong decisions, and the kid, or you can look at it as like an extended family. A lot of my extended family members make bad decisions, get in the newspapers, but I got to deal with the family reputation, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways when it comes to like this relationship between the two of them. It's definitely a familiar type of relationship when it comes to like family or stuff like that. Like I said, there's so many ways to interpret it. Friends too. You know what I mean?
Your friends who fucked up shit, they're going to come to you and say, "Why'd your friend do this? Why is he acting like this?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't fucking know why he did that, but you know what? There's just ways to really interpret it. And again, that's what makes a good movie. Not just a good horror movie. That's what makes a good movie. It's just the different ways you can discuss it.
I seen it a year ago, and I still think about this shit. I still think about, damn, it could go this way too. And I think it's just like it never ends, man. It just keeps you thinking. How many movies have you watched where a year later you're still thinking about aspects of it? Think about, wow, because there's no clear answers yet. There's all clear answers.
Yeah.
Here we go through the chat here more to see what they got to say here, and we'll. Did you see Strange Darling yet?
Not yet. I got a lot of stuff I got to catch up with. I'm trying to catch up with a lot of things, and that is, we're doing inventory at work, and I'm so fucking tired. I know based on your recommendation, because if you say I have to go in blind, that means I really need to pay attention, and I haven't had a night where I can just focus. So not yet, but it will happen, and you and I will be in touch, whether positively or negatively. You and I will be in touch on Strange Darling. I got it written down I got a little post-it note somewhere in my room of things that I need to catch up on.
It's just one of these movies, I started watching, and I'm getting spoiled. I started watching it, and every few minutes I was going, oh, you know what I mean? So I just thought that was a really cool aspect of it. I was like, oh, damn, okay. And so it's like, wow, I watched these like back to back, Substance and Strange Darling.
Oh, okay.
And
is Strange Darling is Strange Darling body horror?
No.
Okay.
Nope. It's like thriller horror type thing.
Okay.
I know okay, let me go here. All the bloodshed was a little disgusting. I wasn't expecting quite that level of growth. Well, it kind of, toward the end, but yeah, before that, to me, it's all psychological and emotional. Let me see. She wanted to make it care about these aesthetics when she's still good. Great makeup. Did if the makeup won any Academy Awards? I thought it did.
I don't know. I'll look real quick. You can go since you're going through the chat.
I'd still choose the young Demi over Sue any day. The young Demi, well, you got to remember the young Demi is the one that has the ass on the cover of I Sit on Your Grave. That's what her movie. That's what her ass looked like back then. Weapons is the shit. Weapons is really good. I have to go with Eric. The last part, it's it. I didn't expect it to be about what it turned out to be about. I'll put it that way.
I didn't mind what it ended up being about. It's just, I'll put it this way. It was nominated for best. It did win best makeup and hairstyling at the awards at the Academy Awards. Here's the thing about Weapons, and I'll keep it as vague as possible for anyone who wants to see it but hasn't. It's a very intense scene. You know, the chase. I'll leave it at that. But they threw because it's going through a neighborhood. There's little bits and attempts at comedy when the neighbors are seeing, like the guy mowing the lawn, he sees it happening in the distance. I'm just like, that's the attempts at comedy that I'm like, this is an intense scene, and that's where they fumble the ball at the 5-yard line, if that makes sense. I'm like, you just keep it intense. Who gives a shit? You know, when Josh Brolin is going through someone's living room, oh, they destroyed the glass or they destroyed this. I'm like, I don't care. I want to keep the intensity because it was just a little bit of a tonal shift that just kind of, instead of giving it like 4.5 stars, I knocked it down to 4. You know what I mean? Just a little bit.
On a scale of here's do 1 through 10, because that's what I usually do. I don't give very many films, even the ones I like the most. I don't give very many of me higher than 8. What would you give Weapons?
Okay, it's more easier for me to do 5, but if you want me to do 10, all right. If it's a 5, I'm gonna give it a 4 because that tonal shift. Out of 10, I'd probably give Weapons maybe an 8.5. It was very, very good, and I'll say this. I'll say this with Weapons. I'm not big on non-linear films. Like, you know how Tarantino has to make every fucking movie non-linear? The way they did it in Weapons was done perfectly. You know what I mean? They had their stories interconnecting, but it wasn't, you know, John Travolta gets killed within a half hour and then he walks out of the diner at the end of the fucking movie. That type of thing. Right. You know, they had their stories and then they had the final chapter where everything flowed.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd give it an 8.5. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I preferred Together. I'd give Together a 9, but it still had that. I don't want to spoil it for you. It still had that little bit of at the very end, like, oh, this could have been good if you didn't make that decision. Right, but you might like it. You know what I mean? You and I look at movies differently.
Right. And
definitely,
the substance.
Definitely get on Together. Definitely get on Together. It's really good.
I've been wanting to because it seems like something that I would like. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Well, as far as the substance, what do you give it out of 10?
9 3/4. You know, it takes now if it's a 5 out of 5, it's 5 out of 5 for me. 10, right. You gotta work harder to get a 10, but it's a 5 out of 5, but 9 3/4 out of 10 because I enjoy this the more I watch it, and it's one of those films because you know me, I don't like to watch movies that I love over and over again because I'm afraid I'm going to get sick of it. Right. The Substance is one of those movies I'll watch every 3 months or every 5 months because I enjoy it that much because of the way you can look at it differently. So
yeah. Paula gives it a 9. Now I must be a little harsher because, like I said, even some of my very favorite films, I don't give more than 8. Very few have gotten 10s. Maybe I could probably count on one hand in my life that I've given 10s.
Sure.
Like I said, my favorites go to 8, 8.5, 9 if they're extreme.
That's why, that's why I do it out of 5. It's a lot easier, you know.
Weapons, I give it 7, 6.5, 7. But I liked it. I liked it. You know. The Substance, I don't like I said, I hardly ever give more than an 8, but I'll give the Substance a 9. Yeah, which is extreme for me.
Good for you.
Now, Strange Darling. Oh man, 8.5.
Oh wow. Okay.
For one brief moment, I thought I liked it better than the Substance, but then I watched the Substance again. And I said, no, it's a
yeah.
You know. But yeah.
The Substance for me is damn near perfect, and I understand why people wouldn't like the finale. It's so over the top, but the way the movie ends, it's heartbreaking. that little
It is.
blob that gets
Yeah,
on
right
the
on the stomach.
star. She gets on the star, and then she's cleaned up.
Yeah.
She gets her moment, and then she's immediately gone. And if that
It
doesn't
starts.
hit you, if that doesn't hit you with the symbolism, you're fucked. You know what I mean? When I say that, because we already had the symbolism with the star all bright and shiny, and then cracked, and people dropping fucking hot dogs on it, and then you have she gets her moment. She's so happy, she's smiling, and then just that floor buffer just sucks her up like it's nothing.
Yeah, that was so cold. I was like, damn, what a fitting way. Yeah.
It was all for nothing. All
Yeah.
for nothing, because they're not going to remember Sue. They're not going to remember Elizabeth. They're going to remember what happened to Sue, because Sue is the star. Sue is that big fucking monster, not Elizabeth. So
it's oh man. Drake gives Substance 8 out of 10 and Strange Charlie 9 out of 10. So I used to do this thing. I would give 12, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was several months ago, maybe a year ago. I was doing a lot of them on my community post here on YouTube. On my post, I would put I would give the synopsis of the film, who stars in it, what the crew is, and then I would give 12 points. The directing, acting, characters, all that different shit. 12 different points, and then I would give it out of a possible, and it's 10 points each tops. So out of a possible 120 points is what I would give the score of the film. You can find some of the back there, and I don't know if I ever did the Substance, but I'll look around and I'll do a couple of those here in the next couple of days in case you didn't see those. That way you can see what it is I'm talking about. You can see the way I grade shit. Okay. So it's just something I started doing a while back. It's when we weren't talking as much, so you probably missed them. So I'll go ahead and do a couple so that you can see what I do, and because I enjoy doing that. Everybody does video reviews. I wanted to kind of do it on the post.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's different too. You know what I mean?
You know me. Hey, got to try to be different. Yep. Just like my post that I put up earlier about I did the old Sex Pistols thing. I said, never mind the plagiarist. Here's the gore probe.
I think I saw that right before we got together.
I have to be naughty every now and then, just to keep myself full of piss and vinegar. I'm full of piss and vinegar. But yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It's a great show, and I've been waiting to talk about it, but I wanted to talk about it with somebody who appreciated it like I do.
This was one of those things. Like I said, it's the first episode. I'll send you the link to mine and Melissa's episode. Yeah. This was one of those, because our show is her going into the horror genre being a newbie. She's seen a couple, but she doesn't go strictly into horror movies, and which is why I'm really enjoying this journey we're taking together. Me the the old schooler, I guess you would say, bringing in the newbie. But I didn't know the Substance existed because I don't have cable, so I'm only online. I didn't see any previews. She texted me one night, "Have you ever seen The Substance?" Because she knows I'm a big horror guy. No idea what you're talking about. She said, "Watch this movie." And then when I saw it, I'm like, "What the fuck is she doing watching this movie?" Because she's not into gore and stuff like that. Yeah, she recommended.
So she showed you a horror movie. Wow. Okay.
She showed me the movie, but then once I saw it, because she's about maybe 10 years older than me, so I understood. And the profession she was in before we became friends. It was all about looks and stuff like that. So she associated with that. But then there was the gore stuff. So I'm like, wow, I get why you liked it. But then when you have her walking down the fucking Walk of Fame and like she steps wrong and her fucking kneecap explodes and she just falls, I'm like, wow, what the fuck are you doing watching this? But so if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have watched it. So I found it online. You know what I mean? I found it online. I'm not gonna lie. But you know me, I'll look online. If I enjoy a film, I will buy it. I watched that movie and I pre-ordered it on Amazon for myself, and I pre-ordered a copy for her on Blu-ray. And now I've probably watched that Blu-ray at least twice since getting it.
That's so poetic. That you're the horror guy, and you're introducing her to horror as the newbie. Yet she brings you to one of the best ones made in years.
and I didn't even fucking know it existed because again,
That's maybe.
all my friends, I hate to say it, all my friends are talking about slasher films. I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
but the substance
Yeah.
also kind of helped pull me out of that too. So that's
I
why
love
I'm
them, but
going.
I love all horror. If it's good, I like it.
Well,
I
and then
don't care if it's nice or what.
our second episode was Train to Busan, her idea, because she
Mm,
just wanted to do a zombie film and she heard someone talk about it. I'm like, okay, she's 2 for 2. You know what I mean? The newbie is bringing in 2
right.
fantastic movies, and I'm not gonna lie, Train to Busan was fucking
But,
great. I gave I
oh,
don't know if I gave that a 5, but it's at least a 4.5, and I'm man enough to admit that fucking ending had me crying like a baby. And you know what part I'm talking about. I won't spoil it for people,
mm, mm,
but yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it's fun bringing a newbie into horror, but when she has these ideas, it's even more fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I would love to analyze with her sometime, or whatever. Of course, I won't. You guys got your thing. You do the horror. Maybe since I love so many, maybe one of these days, sometime in the future, maybe we could do a different kind of movie
Hmm.
or something. Because
Yeah,
she's just cool. She's just a nice person, and just she's good to bounce off of. She brings up a lot of good ideas that I really like that.
that's why, and like you said, with when you watched the Carrie episode, you liked, and other people said this was that was her first time ever seeing Carrie. You know what I mean? Which I was surprised at,
She
and
sees things that a lot of people don't.
she brought in the female perspective.
Uh
Going
huh.
through high school, worried about the looks, and then she brought up some stuff, growing up that I won't get into here,
Yeah.
without her permission. You can watch the episode for that.
Right.
But she talked about how she associated with what Carrie went through. We'll say, what I mean, not to
Oh,
that
God.
extreme, you know what I mean. But a
Mm.
lot of the stuff she associates. We just did Valley Girl, dude, because every now and then we got to cleanse the palate of horror. Because I don't want to fucking do just horror. Because again, like if you just do slashers, it gets old. I
Yeah.
wanted to like every 4 or 5
Valley Girl's
episodes
great.
we're gonna do a non-horror movie, but that was my first time watching Valley Girl. So she made me watch a
Wow.
movie that I'd never seen before, and she grew up in fucking California. She knew where those places were. She
Valley,
knew where the mall was, and this and that, and so
like
she
that
brings a
Deputy
lot to the
Scream.
table. She brings a lot to the table.
Garrodi. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
She said she used those terms when she was
Yeah.
watching Troll 2. Man, we did an episode on Troll 2, which I'm like, I think she fucking loved that movie because of how stupid it was. She says I went into it as a comedy and I had a fucking blast. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
she brings a lot to the table.
There's so many of those. Yeah. There's so many of those 80s movies. It's just like you talk about slashers. Most of the thing of it is, yeah, we love these slashers, but most of the best ones were made in the early to mid 80s. And they don't come up with great ones like that anymore.
No,
So I can't sit around and talk about those all the time unless there be a bunch of new ones that are great, and there's not.
no, and don't get me wrong. You know me, I love my trash cinema. I do. I love my garbage.
Right?
But excuse me, I can only fucking take so much of Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse, and I don't give a shit. I
Man.
care that it's David Howard Thornton playing the Grinch. I don't want to fucking see a Grinch kill people. You know what I mean? It's old and repetitive. And that's
Yeah.
coming from me who says remake everything. Remake
Right.
everything because you might get a good film. And the original
Mhm.
is never tarnished. I don't give a shit what anyone says. The original is still there. It doesn't affect your love for that movie. If you
Right.
hate the remake, well then you just watched a shitty movie. Boo hoo. That's all it is.
My
So
my complaint with it isn't that. My complaint with all these remakes and these reboots and these sequels is I want to see some creativity and some imagination. And if you
yeah,
keep
I get that.
remaking everything, do that instead. I don't want to see 10 remakes of Halloween. I want to see you come up with something new, man.
Or something good. If
If
you want
they're
to do
fun like
it,
that, like
if
the
you want to
game, you
do
don't have any.
this is just me again, but if you want to do the 15th goddamn alternate timeline for Halloween, at least do something good. I don't give
Yeah,
a shit what people say. I don't like that David Gordon Green trilogy. I don't.
me either. Me either. Like I said,
I fucking hate Laurie in all 3 of those fucking movies.
yes, she's
I
not the
don't
Lori in the first one. No, not
no.
even close.
She's she's not even Laurie in H2O.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Good point.
You want to see Laurie deal with PTSD and wanting to take care of her family? Watch H2O. Because
Right.
Jamie Lee Curtis actually put in the effort. You can tell in all 3 of those movies, it's just a paycheck, and she's sleepwalking through those goddamn movies.
Yeah, she doesn't care. Yeah, and she fucked up the whole thing because she put visions in there to say she had to kill off Michael and all this kind of stuff. Where she wasn't. She has to end it. She has to end him. And
You
why?
know, you know how much when she threw Michael into that fucking grinder, you know how much I wish she would have tripped and fell in after him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Or instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just me. If you like that trilogy, God bless you. It's just not for me, man. It's just not for me. I'd rather watch The Substance. You know what I mean?
It's new. It's yeah. Somebody being creative and with using their imagination. That's what I try to do with my channel all the time. I don't want to do the same shit that everybody else does. I don't want to do the same shit I've done. I took my ranking evil off because it wasn't good enough for me. I took all them off because I'm going to redo all them to my standard when I have time to do them without overthinking them and putting time constraints on me.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do good, new, different shit.
That's why, you know me, like we talked. I've been on YouTube 10 years. I'm done. I'm done pretty much doing solo reviews unless something comes up.
Right.
I'm focusing on my show with Melissa because it's fun, and I'm focusing on my interviews because I get positive feedback on them, and it's something I love to do.
You shouldn't just do them. You should do them when you're inspired.
Because you can tell, and when I was forcing myself to do, like, I loved having these different monthly themes, but I felt like I had to pump it out, and it showed it showed a lot, and you could tell I'm only uploading this because I haven't uploaded a video in like 3 days, and I knew it showed. I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't made a video. Like, I do shorts now. Shorts are easy. 3 minutes, I could say something, and it's up there. But I haven't done a video. I haven't done a video in a month, other than with Melissa in an interview. Because I haven't done a video in a month, and it feels nice. It feels nice taking that fucking break and not having to do it. Yeah, yeah.
It has to be fun, and you have to be inspired. If you don't have those two things, there's no point because people are going to be able to tell. You know, people can see it. People can see a lot more than you think. You know, and like you could hear it in your voice. Some, there's last one. I'm just doing. No, I really didn't like. You just hear that just this very, just not as positive. Yeah, you want to smile.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it more when I do them when they're spaced out. And like I've also said, if I've done it for 10 fucking years, what else can I say? You know what I mean? Grab a DVD off the shelf. This is what I think about it. I'd rather just keep with the interviews, which are so much fun. So much fun. The different people that I've gotten to agree to do it and have done it with, or the people I got upcoming next month. Next month, I'm so excited. And then just the shorts are super simple. I can say my opinion on one thing, literally on my break at work, and then just upload it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the one I just uploaded on the fucking fans jumping the guardrail and hugging celebrities, or that one freak that did that AI video with AJ Lee. You know what I mean? I'm talking about how dangerous it is for fans to do that, but it's even more dangerous for people to say, "Oh, there's no harm done." Tell it to Rebecca Schaefer or John Lennon. You know what I mean? No harm done.
Fans got no business in there, man. There's a reason why. There's no business. Fans have no business getting in the ring. That's a big no. You don't run and get in the ring. You don't do that. You get hurt doing that shit.
Yeah.
You don't do that because they don't know why you're coming in there.
No.
And being a former wrestler, I'm telling you, somebody from the crowd comes and slides in that ring, and I'm stomping on their fucking head. It happened before.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why they're coming in there.
It's like, I could give two shits about Ariana Grande, but when that guy jumped that barricade just to get just to hug her, you don't know what was in his pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know you. What the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah. He jumped on her, and like he was just doing it for the cameras, but you don't know. He could have had a razor on him, or worse. You don't know.
Yep.
But then you have people he's just doing it for social media. I don't fucking care. That's still stupid. Why are you encouraging these people that, A, I hate to say, aren't mentally all there, or B, people that don't care? That's still no excuse to encourage it or shrug it off. So that's why I'm glad this kid with the whole AJ Lee thing, he was banned from all those events going forward. You know. And then when I went to his X profile, it's all about I love AJ Lee. I'm gonna post about AJ Lee. I'm just like,
wow, that's creepy.
Remember when you had that crazy guy who made the pipe bomb? He was gonna send to Bjork, and because
Yeah.
he loved Bjork. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
He's fine. He means no
You mentioned
harm. Yeah.
you mentioned Dominic Dunn, the girl that
Yep.
played the older sister in Poltergeist. Lots of shit. Versace, that was an ex-boyfriend, but still, he was still coming where he wasn't supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
So
can do that.
quit encouraging. That's what, again, this is just me, but quit encouraging these people to do it.
Yeah.
Quit making
Yeah,
excuses for them to do it, because eventually they're gonna go that step, and it's gonna end badly. And then I wouldn't, like I told you, I said I wouldn't want that on my conscience,
Right.
defending somebody, and then they took it that far. But,
Yeah.
all right, ending on this happy note. Jesus.
All right, man. But yeah, I think thanks for joining me. It's a great show, and I love talking about it. Well, if you end up liking Strange Darling or whatever, or even if you don't, maybe we can get on here and talk about it. Or I'll watch together. I'll tell you what, I'll watch together. You watch Strange Darling. We'll figure it out.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
Cool.
we definitely will.
All right, man. Thanks. I will be talking to you soon. We talk all the time. Thanks everybody for coming and join us in the chat. It's much appreciated. Everybody's going to check it out on the rewatch. I'll be Eric will be doing go to his channel. It's hey internet dot Eric here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You got it.
I'll be trying to get it just right on that one thing. I got it perfect. It's Eric, in internet. No, wait a minute. Hey, dot. No, God damn it.
Just keep it.
Internet dot Eric here. Bam! I didn't put it on one try on that thing. On one try.
Bro, I've been on, like I said, YouTube for 10 years. People still get it wrong. It's just an introduction. Hey, internet. Eric, you know what I mean? It's just me introducing myself.
I take pride in getting that right every time I type it out. And I do get it right every time I type. The first couple of times I didn't 3-4 years ago, but since then I've gotten that perfect. Dot. Yeah.
2 sentences.
I'm just OCD that way. But yeah, that's Eric here. Of course, I am Goraphobe, and you guys are not. Much love to you. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.
Cheers.